Hello everyone and welcome back to another video from Homemaker. Now when it comes to taking care of our plants, whether they are indoor or outdoor, potting soil or potting mixes play a very important role in a healthy growth and development of a container plant or an outdoor plant. And you might see a wide variety of potting mixes or potting mediums out there in the market, and all these potting mediums are different. They are formulated to meet the needs of different types of plants. For example, the succulents would prefer a different type of potting medium as compared to those of ferns and calatheas. And in this video, I will be discussing about potting mixes and what are the basic components that usually goes in a potting medium, and different varieties of potting mediums that you see in the market and their purposes, and few of the frequently asked questions. So please stay with us till the end of this video. Now first I'll start with what is a potting soil or a potting mix. Now potting soil or a potting mix comprises of a wide variety of materials that provide a healthy environment for a container plant to grow. And these soil mixes not only keep the soil aerated, but they also provide nutrition and allow better drainage. And a good quality potting mix has the ability to hold enough of moisture within itself and still be light and airy. A potting mix generally includes 3 or 4 basic components. So the first one is organic, plant or animal based mediums such as peat moss, sphagnum moss, compost, composted bark, rice hull, manure, worm castings, poultry litter. Also, coco coir, which is derived from coconut husk, is nowadays a popular substitute for peat moss because it's renewable and it serves the same purpose as peat moss. The second component is the inorganic natural materials, which are basically added to provide better drainage, to provide soil aeration and to prevent soil compaction. For example, perlite, vermiculite, pumice, coarse sand and charcoal. The third component are fertilizers, which add essential nutrients into the soil for a healthy plant growth. For example, slow release all-purpose fertilizers, complete liquid fertilizers, synthetic fertilizers, organic fertilizers such as kelp meal, alfalfa meal, blood and bone meal or bone meal, seaweed solution are also added to provide nutrition to the plant. The fourth component are the additives, which are added to balance the pH of the soil or the wetting agents to retain moisture in the soil. The cheaper or generic brands might add some fillers in the potting mix such as garden soil, which can alter the texture and quality of the potting mix. Therefore, always check the ingredients on the soil packaging before you buy them. Now we'll talk about the different types of potting mixes. So the first one is all-purpose potting mix, which is basically a blend of peat moss and composted bark along with perlite and vermiculite in it. Now, all-purpose potting mix may or may not contain fertilizers in it, and this type of soil medium can be used for indoor or outdoor plants. It can also be used to grow edibles in your garden. The second variety is indoor potting soil mix, which is basically formulated for house plants because it does not contain composted bark, because composted bark can harbor fungus gnats. So this type of soil mix is a blend of peat moss or sphagnum moss along with perlite, vermiculite and compost. The third variety is the garden soil, which is basically the regular soil. It may or may not contain any compost or fertilizer in it, and this type of soil is basically heavy, which makes it unsuitable for potted plants. So you can use this soil for outdoor plants. You can also grow edibles in this type of soil. The next variety is cacti and succulent soil mix. Now cactus and succulents, they are drought tolerant plants and they love to be in a well draining soil with lots of aeration. They don't like wet soil at all. Therefore, the cactus and succulent soil mix is an equal ratio of potting mix and perlite or pumice or coarse sand or charcoal for extra drainage. Next is the seed starting soil mix. Now the seed starting soils must be light, fluffy and sterile. These types of soils are generally soilless and they are well draining and must provide better aeration for a healthy growth and development of the seedling and the easy germination. The seed starting soil mix generally comprises of 2 parts of peat moss and coco coir, 1 part of perlite or vermiculite and 2 parts of compost. Now either you can prepare the soil mix yourself at home using the same ingredients that I mentioned, or you can buy a pre-prepared mix from the garden store. The next type is orchid mix. Now orchids are epiphytes which generally grow on the tree barks in the tropical rainforest, and therefore their soil mix basically comprises of the tree bark chips. Now you can add perlite or charcoal for extra drainage in that soil mix, but you can also use this orchid bark mix for other types of epiphytes and bromeliads as well. Now there are always some questions that come in our mind related to potting soil mixes. So the first question is that do these potting soil mixes lose their potency? So well, yes, these potting soil mixes, they contain either peat moss or composted bark in them, which do decompose with time and they lose the nutrients and they tend to get compacted. Also, sometimes the soil mixes get contaminated by soil pathogens, and therefore it's always a good idea to change the soil once yearly during the growing season to maintain the potency of the soil and for the better health and growth of your plant. So the second question is whether we can recycle the already used potting soil mix. So well, yes, you can reuse the already used potting soil mix, but the only thing is that you have to rejuvenate the old soil mix. First thing, you have to make sure that the old soil mix is sterile. So for that, either you can sun dry the old soil mix, or you can rinse the soil mix with hydrogen peroxide and then sun dry it to make sure that it is free from all sorts of pathogens and microbes. And then you can add a little bit more of the fresh peat moss or coco coir, whatever you prefer, along with compost or fertilizers or seaweed solution or all those sorts of things to provide nutrition to the plant, and then you can reuse it. Now if you think that the old soil had a diseased plant in it before, then I would suggest you to discard that soil and not use it again. So the third question is whether it's necessary to fertilize the soil because the potted soil already contains some sort of fertilizer or compost in it. Now, it's not necessary that all the potting mixes would contain the fertilizer or compost in it. Well, if your potting mix contains some sort of fertilizer or compost, still it is necessary to fertilize the soil, fertilize the plant, especially during the growing season, during the spring and summer season, because the plant is growing and the plant is utilizing those nutrients from the soil. Also, when we water the plant, most of the nutrients get flushed away, and therefore it's very necessary to fertilize the plant to replenish the lost nutrients to make sure that the plants can grow happy and healthy, especially during the spring and summer season. But during the winter season, it's not really necessary to fertilize your plant because the plants do not grow that much and they do not use a lot of nutrients from the soil. And if you fertilize during the winter season too much, then it can cause the soil buildup in the soil, it can cause root burn, and it can drastically affect your plant. Also, while fertilizing, you need to understand the needs of your plant as well. So if the plant is not a heavy feeder like peperomias or snake plant or succulents, if they do not need a fertilizer, then please do not fertilize, because then the soil buildup or can cause root burn and it can kill the plant. So always fertilize the plant based on the needs of the plant. And last but not the least, always wear some sort of mask and gloves when you are mixing or preparing a soil mix, because fine particles, especially that of perlite or vermiculite or diatomaceous earth, can be very injurious to your lungs if you inhale them. So always wear a mask or gloves to protect yourself. So friends, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Please don't forget to check the description box for more information related to the potting mixes, potting soil, perlite, and all the links that I have provided to you, and the related videos as well. And please do give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more informational videos, and we will see you next time with another exciting video. Till then, stay safe, happy gardening, bye bye.